Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
We'll get started with Dave and then Ruben.
Hey, Doug. Good morning. With the positive COVID test, you guys are in the intensive protocols. How does that affect the practice week, and what's your messaging to the team been about this?
Well, hey, before we start, I just want to say Happy Veterans Day to everybody, to all the men and women, the service men and women, the military, not only in our country but around the world, who defend our freedoms. And just want to say thank you to them and Happy Veterans Day to everybody. Getting back to your question, the only thing it really affects is meeting time. We had a really good session this morning virtually, which we leaned on our experiences from the spring and the summer and training camp with the virtual stuff, and we had a really good session with the players in their meetings. And now we get them over here to test and practice on the field. So we're just limited in the amount of availability with the players right now. But, we're going to make the most of it. And the messaging is that, we eliminate distractions and we focus on the Giants and we prepare that way.
Ruben and then Tim.
Hey, Doug, good morning. The obligatory injury question. When you have guys activated with their IR window, what do you look for? It seems like usually they practice for a week and then you'll hold them out of that first game. And then if they get through the next week, they play. But what would a guy have to show you, like Isaac, for instance, this week, or even Miles, to play on Sunday? What would you look for? And also, how's Lane doing?
In Lane's case, Lane's doing good. We'll get him out there today and just see where he's at health wise. But he's doing really well. He's in a good frame of mind, and the time off was really good for him to get treatment and to rest and be prepared for this week. In as it pertains to Isaac and Miles, really, we just gotta number one, we gotta be smart with how much of a workload we give them during weeks like this. We do want to see them, practice and get some snaps and some reps with the offense. But we also got to see how much of a workload, how much can their body, the stress on their body take during the week, because we limit guys during the week and then they go play and get a full workload on Sunday and it's a little bit different. So we just got to be able to manage that the right way and make sure that they feel comfortable, they're in the right frame of mind, obviously, and that's why we do the ramp up process the way we do it.
Tim and then Zach.
Doug, Brett Favre offered the opinion yesterday that you guys should have kept Nick Foles over Carson Wentz, and his comments arguably have a little bit more weight since you guys are tight. Just curious what your reaction to his comments are.
I respect Brett's opinion. Yeah, we are friends, but I haven't talked to him, and he's entitled to that, and that's about it. I'll have a conversation with him off the record.
Hey, Doug, you had the players on the field last week, and I believe Monday. What did you see from Carson in those practices, and were there any indications that turnovers continue to be an issue?
Yeah, last week was good. Actually rested Carson, didn't let the starters practice last week, had the young guys out there. I wanted to focus more on the sort of the developmental guys, the guys that haven't gotten a lot of snaps with the offense and defense. So I let a lot of the starters just kind of rest and take the time. They were out there at practice, but take the time off.
Go ahead, John. And then John.
Hey, Doug. Good morning. Little curveball for you. I don't know if you know this, but this is the 31st, I think, anniversary of the Division I AA game where you threw for 619 yards. It's the most yards combined in any Division I AA FCS now. Have any memories of that? Were you aware this was the day?
You know what? I had no idea that this was the day. Now, listen, these are if you guys will learn from these types of questions, these are the questions I love to answer. So in the future, ask more of these types of questions.
That's not going to help me, Doug.
Yeah. No, I tell you, it was a great day. Obviously when you're in the moment like that, you're just trying to execute, your offense. And I didn't even know that I had thrown for that many yards in that particular game, and really until afterwards. And at the time, a local reporter, his name was Gene Pawnee, came up to me in the locker room after the game. Of course, we lost the game, which probably sticks in my memory bank more than anything. But he said I set a NCAA record for most passing yards in a game at the time. I think it's been broken several times since. But it was just a great day, and it was a lot of fun, and got all the offensive guys involved in that day. And I just wish we would have pulled out the victory. It would have made it that much more sweeter.
John Clark and then Paul Domowitch.
Hey, Doug, having faced the Giants so recently, does that change anything that you do as far as game planning and preparation and things to throw at them because of the familiarity?
No, it is something, obviously, to go back and watch our game and listen. Quite frankly, they had us beat. It was 21-10 with under 5 minutes to go in this game, and this is a good football team, and we've got to learn from that game. We've got to go back and study it, and not just from X's and O's, but just our execution as an offense and defense. And there was trick plays on special teams, and there were all kinds of things in the game that came up that we can learn from and study and be prepared. And it is nice to have just played them a couple weeks ago, because things are still kind of fresh on your mind, and we've had a chance to study them a little bit more. They've had a couple of games, but listen, this is a much improved football team from the first time, and they're playing, even though they haven't pulled these games out as much, but they're it's a good football team. It's a good football team. They're coming off a win this past weekend, and they had Tampa Bay on the ropes, obviously had us on the ropes, and several teams this year, and we have to be prepared.
Paul and then Jeff McClain.
Yeah, Doug, before Dallas initially got hurt and then Zach, you guys obviously were predominantly a 12 personnel offense. Their absence has given your wide receivers, including Fulgham and now Jalen, a chance to emerge and play well. Going forward, are you going to be probably more of a mixture of 11 and 12?
I think it just depends on the week you're in. As far as we take a look at a lot of the analytical numbers, based on our opponent, things that have been successful, and really look at our own success, whether we're in 11 or 12 personnel, and how to attack. Quite honestly, teams that play their base defense against our 12 personnel, we tend to struggle against those defenses, and so by putting 11 out there and maybe getting their sub defense on the field where we can spread things out has been beneficial for us. And so it's a week to week adjustment that we look at in order for us to really say, hey, this is a 12 game or 11 personnel game, each week.
Jeff and then Les.
Doug, more than half of John Hightower's targets this year have been on deep passes, I guess, which qualifies 20 yards or longer. And yet he hasn't really caught many of those passes for whatever the reason. Carson's numbers downfield have not been good also. Did you find during the break, as you did some self-analysis, that you guys have been forcing the ball too much to Hightower downfield?
No. Listen, Hightower's open down the field. I believe one of the things that I've done personally as a play caller is I've called more of the shot plays, with him in the game. It is something that we studied last week during our off time, and I honestly, yeah, okay, we haven't hit as many as I would have liked, but the fact that we're getting in behind the defense and having opportunities down the field are things that we can improve on and we can get better at. And so for me, that's the encouraging part, is that we have so much room to really grow in that area. But we put Hightower in that position. He's blessed with speed. He's blessed with good ball skills. He can make the catch down the field. And we just got to continue, we got to continue to work in that area and keep throwing those balls, not only in practice, but in the game.
Go ahead, Les, and then Kristen.
Hi, Doug. Just to clarify on the Brett Favre business, you said you respect his opinion, but his opinion in this instance was that you should have kept Nick Foles and gotten rid of Carson Wentz. I'm assuming that's not your opinion?
I respect Brett's opinion. He's entitled to his opinion. And that's fine, and I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead, Kristen, and then Ed Kratz.
Good morning, Doug. When we've talked in the last few weeks, there's been a lot of talk about the inconsistency on the roster, hoping to build that back up here in the second half of the season. You mentioned some of the injuries, but from the confidence level, where does that stand for you guys, knowing that you can get some of those pieces back here in the second half to try to create some of that consistency?
Yeah, I mean, the bye week came at a really good time for us as the health of the football team allowed some guys that have been injured to get healthy and see where they're at this week, and so we're encouraged. I'm encouraged by where we are even today, and getting a few more guys back on the practice field and seeing where they are, and we've got to continue to keep making strides, keep improving each week. And when we start getting these players back, incorporate them back into the scheme and into the flow of the team, and just keep improving. And this will be a big week for a lot of players and a lot of those injured guys as we prepare this week.
Go ahead, Ed, and then Martin.
Hey, Doug. Just curious, when you studied Carson after the first 8 games, presumably last week. Is there anything you can pinpoint that you and your staff can help kind of get him back on the right track here? I know he talks all the time about he understands the turnovers can happen, but is there anything you can do maybe in terms of play calling to help get him kind of jump started into the second half?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things we can do, and I think play calling is one of them. I can do things a little bit differently there. I can, obviously maybe call a run or two a little bit more to help out a little bit. But, some of the things that we're doing offensively or that we did in the first half of the season was our 1st and 10 production. We were poor. We were not staying ahead of the chain, so to speak. We were too many second long and third long situations. So offensively, we were putting ourselves in bad situations. And those are things that we can focus on, whether it be the run game, whether it be the screen game, quick passing, whatever it might be, to not only help Carson, but to help the offense. And all those things go hand in hand with the success of your offense. And we just got to do a better job on 1st and 10 and keeping ourselves out of those situations.
Go ahead, Martin, and then Mike K.
Hi, Doug. I know the beginning of the season, obviously, you didn't really see, Jalen Reagor and Travis Fulgham as being your top 2 receivers. So obviously they haven't spent a lot of time, working with the first unit together. And obviously there was Reagor's injuries and stuff. But, now that you've had a couple weeks with them and everything, like how important is it for you guys to kind of like establish those guys, get them familiar with Carson and stuff? Because it seems like, basically it's training camp for those guys as the top receivers. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, in Travis's case, obviously he's had a lot of time with Carson now, several weeks, and so I think they're on a pretty good page. I think getting Jalen back, he came back, against the Cowboy game, kind of his first time back out there. This will be the next time, second time out, and then again, throw Alshon in the mix and see where he's at this week as well. So kind of incorporating these guys back in the system. We've got to spend as much time as we can on the field trying to get Carson comfortable and also them comfortable with the offense and all of that. So it's a work in progress with a couple of the young players, but having them back in the fold, in the mix as healthy receivers. Just makes us a little bit better, a little bit stronger, moving forward.
We'll wrap it up with Mike and then Rob Motti.
Hey, Doug.
when you look back at Golden Tate's time here, what did you take away from him as a player and as a person? And then also, why do you think it was only kind of a short stint for him in Philly?
I tell you what, great player, great person, a great teammate. Those are things that stood out to me. And then, just an opportunity for him, for me to work with him. I think he's a really good slot receiver. Move him around, the formations, do some different things with him. We were. I can go back to that Bears playoff game and some of the tough catches he made in that game, and of course the game-winning touchdown in that game to help us win a playoff game a couple years ago. And it's just something that he came in, he helped us do what we needed to do, and then moved on. Every year is a different year, and you're always looking, obviously not only free agents but even at the trade deadline, ways to maybe improve your team and add some depth and talent. And he was one of the guys at the time, and he definitely helped us get into the postseason and win that playoff game.
Go ahead, Rob.
Doug, before it gets blown out of proportion and everyone runs with Doug didn't support Carson today and he stood by what Brett Favre said, just want to give you a final opportunity to clarify. Those were Brett's thoughts. They weren't your thoughts. When the decision had to be made in the organization, even though personnel decisions like that are usually tough, was it that difficult for you guys? Was anyone beating down the door to do a different thing?
In regards to Nick?
In terms of keeping Nick over Carson?
No, Carson's our guy. Carson's our draft pick. Carson's the guy that is going to carry us and lead this football team. And listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Those aren't my words. Those aren't Howie's words, Jeffrey's words. Those are his words. I mean, I respect that opinion. Whatever he wants to say, that's fine. And we're going to remain friends. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. All I know is that Carson Wentz is our guy. And it's my job to get Carson Wentz to play better, to do better, to help this football team win, as it is to get everybody else to play better. And so, again, I respect his opinion and his words. Those aren't mine. Please don't put words in my mouth or we're going to have a problem. And Carson's our guy. Bottom line, end of story.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Rob.